It is 7 o'clock, and I will call this meeting to order, and I'll have our city clerk read the remote meeting instructions, if she would, please.
Pursuant to Governor Inslee's emergency proclamation regarding suspending certain provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act during the COVID-19 outbreak, the Toppenish City Council will not accept in-person public comments. All members of the public wanting to comment on City Council agenda items may submit written comments to include your name and address for the record in advance by email to the City Clerk by 4 p.m. on October 26, 2020, to be read during the meeting. To remotely attend this meeting, register by selecting Join a Meeting. Call-in information for listen-only mode is 253-215-8782, meeting ID 862-3068-1878, passcode 318394. Email the City Clerk or call 509-865-6754 with questions.
Thank you. And if we'd all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, if our city clerk would please do the roll call.
Mayor Oakes.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Saavedra.
Here.
Council Member Belton.
Here.
Council Member Seha. Council Member Duval.
Present.
Council Member Garcia.
Here.
Council Member Jimenez.
Present.
Let the record show that Council Member Seha is absent and is excused, and the city does have a full quorum.
So do we make a motion to excuse him, or do you just excuse him?
Yes, I would.
Okay, because I would make a motion to go ahead and excuse Council Member Seha from tonight's meeting. I second that.
All right, we have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Jimenez and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Saavedra to excuse Councilman Seha for this evening's meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
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 Very good. Okay, moving on to item 3, which is approve agenda as amended tonight. I would entertain a motion on that.
So moved.
I'll second that.
I have a motion on the floor from Mayor Pro Tem Saavedra, seconded by Councilman Garcia to approve the agenda as amended tonight. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to item 4. Advanced public comment received by 4 p.m. on October 26, 2020, to be read by staff at the meeting. City Clerk Rojas.
Mayor, let the record show the city did not receive public comment by the stated deadline.
Thank you. Move on to item 5, our consent agenda. All matters on the consent agenda have been provided to each council member for review and are considered to be routine or have been previously discussed and will be adopted by one motion and vote without discussion. However, if a council member desires, any item on this agenda will be discussed before any action is taken on it. Item 5A, approve the minutes of the October 12th, 2020 regular meeting. 5B, approve payroll checks numbered 35079 through 35092 and the electronic transfer in the total amount of $244,210.13 dated October 23rd, 2020. Item 5C, approve claim checks numbered 92705 through 92768 and the electronic transfer in the total amount of $359,161.46 dated October 26th, 2020. I would entertain a motion.
I
Make a
move to
motion that-
approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
I'll second that.
Oh,
Sorry.
Okay. So, okay. We're on a roll here.
Yeah, really.
yay.
All righty. I have a motion on the floor from Mayor Pro Tem Saavedra and seconded by Councilman Member Garcia to approve the consent agenda in its entirety. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All in, ayes have it. Moving on to item 6, new business. 6A, receive police department update. City Manager Hoyt, I believe.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. We have Interim Police Chief Tim Bardwell. He's joining us to give us an update on 4 items, probably, and there'll be probably graffiti, parking, dogs, and attraction and retention of police officers. So there you go, Chief Bardwell. Hopefully he's there.
Oh,
I am. Can you guys hear me all right?
Oh, there we are.
Yep. Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to
Good evening.
meet all of you, if not in person, on the computer. City Manager Hoyt asked me to give an update on several items from the police department, so I will do that now. Hiring and retention at the police department. We've just hired a new lateral police officer from Yakima Nation Tribal Police. He moved over from them, and he just on Friday finished his equivalency academy through the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission, and he began his FTO period today. So that leaves us with 3 vacancies on the police side and 1 vacancy with dispatch. I've been in contact with Rosie from Civil Service, and we're advertising for more lateral officers, and she's pulling a list from public safety testing for entry-level police officers. So hopefully we can get the ball rolling and get fully staffed, as soon as we can. She's also going to open up the testing for dispatch, and we're down 1 dispatcher at this time, and I'd like to get that filled to relieve some of the overtime that's being incurred at this time. So that's where we are hiring. And retention, as of right now, we don't have, well, I can say nobody's left since I became interim police chief, which is good news. I can't guarantee that for any extended period of time, but right now we're looking good for retention. And I would like to say that having a good work environment will help to retain officers. So that's my goal in the short amount of time that I'm going to be here. On to graffiti. Checking our RMS system, the records management system through the police department. We had 36 reported cases of graffiti and 2 arrests up till September. The officers have done some proactive work on graffiti. In September, they set up a sting to attempt to lure some graffiti artists into graffitiing an abandoned house. And they actually succeeded in doing that. What they did was, there was an abandoned house with some gang graffiti on it, in a certain color. They took spray paint and graffitied over that graffiti, which enticed the opposing gang to come and graffiti over that graffiti. And it worked, except the officers were called away on a priority call during this sting operation. And so when they returned, they found that they had fresh graffiti. They've done that twice this year, and I think it's a really good proactive approach. I had never heard of officers doing that before. It was a great, innovative, proactive approach on their part. So I was very impressed with that. So, you know, graffiti obviously is a problem within the city of Toppenish, as is dogs. And I'll get to that in a second. However, it's mostly a complaint-driven crime. Somebody graffitis in the dead of night, and the next morning, a citizen calls, and we go out and take the report. And unfortunately, that is just kind of the way it is. I would like to do more proactive work with it, and so hopefully we can do that in the future as well. And on to animal control. We do have one animal control officer. He's on duty 3 hours, Monday through Friday, every day. So a total of 15 hours per week. And he is mostly complaint driven as well. You know, I had to fill in for dispatch today for about a half hour, and I received 3 complaints about dogs in that half hour that I was sitting at dispatch. And just driving through Toppenish, you can see that it is a big problem. And our ACO is doing everything that he can. So far this year, he has responded to a total of 106, actually he's taken in 164 animals just in the city of Toppenish. And that's people who are turning their animals in. Those are animals that he's seized. They're abandoned animals. And so, you know, he's out there proactively getting animals. And that's a pretty large number, in my opinion, 164. And looking through our RMS system, we've had 81 animal problem complaints through the police department. And those are general dogs loose. It can encompass a whole gamut of different dog complaints or animal complaints. We've had 4 animal bite reports and then 1 dangerous dog arrest up through September of 2020. And parking. Parking is, again, about half and half, complaint driven and observational on the part of the officers. People call in with parking complaints and we address them as they come in. There was a complaint that came in last week, or maybe the week prior to that, on Boland Drive, of abandoned vehicles around a home and into the street. And our captain, Dave Johnson, went out there and he tagged 3 of the cars for impound, and they were moved within the time frame allotted that people are allowed to move their vehicles. And so the officers do proactive, if they see an abandoned vehicle, they do tag it with either a 24, 48, or 72-hour impound notice. And then that vehicle is placed on our internal muster sheet, and the day shift officers go out and check that in the allotted time. And if the vehicle is still there, then we impound the vehicle and notify the owner. And proactively handicap spots at night. If people are parking in handicap spots at night, the graveyard guys are really good about going out and tagging those or citing those vehicles for those handicap violations. For some reason, it's more prevalent at night, and they can't justify parking in those handicap spots. So that is the update that I have. Are there any questions from council?
So you were saying that through September, 81 of the complaints were dogs?
Well, animal complaints through our RMS system.
So it seems to me as what I see, at least on my east side, it's mostly dogs. So is he also picking up cats, or what's he doing?
He is. He's picking up cats as well. Over the course of January through September of 2020, 74 cats were taken in. And 90 dogs during that same time frame.
Do the owners then go and get them? Because sometimes in the past I've seen where they do pick up a dog, but the next thing you know, there's a dog again. So
yeah, they can go pick them up if they pay a fine. If it's deemed a dangerous dog and let's say it has to be quarantined, then sometimes they don't get their dogs back. You know, if they refuse to license them, or one of the legal issues associated with owning an animal, they don't always get their animal back, but they can get it out of impound.
Okay. And you say he's working 3 hours per day, Monday through Friday?
Correct.
So is it 3 different hours throughout the day, or like he's here Monday through Friday from 11 to 2?
Generally, it's the same hours. And I don't know exactly what hours those are, but I usually see him around 10 o'clock in the morning. So I would assume 10 till 1.
I think in the past, and Lance, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought in the past we said that we wanted him to be around town different hours, not always the same hours. And then I also thought that we also mentioned that it shouldn't just be a Monday through Friday thing. I thought we talked about that he could change his days and also do weekends if he had to.
That's true. That's true. I think in the contract we gave them the opportunity to come and mix those 3 hour periods up, because he's also doing, I can't remember, there's a few other cities that he fills in to get with the animal control, has to have enough cities to provide gainful work for one person, and so they co-op with the other cities, and so hopefully he is doing that. If not, we can check on that and ask for that to be done.
That would be good, because I mean, to be here at the same time every day, Monday through Friday, I don't know. I think we should do, like we talked before, it needs to be mixed up, and it's not just Monday through Friday.
Okay. And I can take a look at the contract.
Yeah.
Interim Police Chief Tim Bardwell, I have a question just for the viewing public. If you can please explain, you know, if someone is having a problem with the dog, what can they do, and how do they get that problem resolved?
If it's an emergent problem, if it's you know, a dangerous dog, if it's a dog bite, then really all they have to do is call the police department. And if it's something that animal control has to respond to and it's after hours or outside of their working hours, we can request an animal control officer to come out and handle that animal. If it's not immediately a threat to public safety, then an officer will take a report, or the dispatcher will write it down in a log and provide it to the animal control officer when he comes in the next time, the following day or after the weekend. So really the bottom line is call the police for the public, and then we will determine what the appropriate steps after that are.
You know, Chief, I was just kind of doing the math on, and correct me, did you say we had the report shows that 164 dogs had been picked up, or dogs and cats so far this year?
Yes.
And so I was just kind of breaking it down, and that gives us about 4 animals per week. And you know, I'm thinking that maybe there should be a goal to try to get at least 1 a day. You know, I'm just like, at least 1 a day would be great. Versus, you know, 3 to 4 a week, or
that's pretty close to 1 a day.
Yeah,
it's only 1 off a day.
True, or maybe 2 a day. I mean, in a 3-hour day. Yeah, especially since it's a big issue and they're just starting to see, maybe that could just be brought up and say, hey, maybe there could be a goal to have the 2 a day or something. I don't know, but just so people can see that we're stepping it up a little bit more in that area, especially with the concerns that it just seems like there's more animals on the street for now.
Sure. And you know, and when he's out there, you know, he does have administrative duties as well. He's got to transport animals to and from the humane shelter. He has to do reports, just like a police officer. You know, our 90% of our time is writing reports, and then the other 10% is actually enforcement.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. That's horrible.
It's a lot of paperwork. And he, you know, for every enforcement action that he takes, there's also an associated administrative action, whether that's a report or a transport and forms filled out at the Humane Society, things like that.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him though and see if he can't step it up.
And another thing that I wanted to comment on was kind of the way that you're trying to take a proactive approach to the graffiti. Would there be a possibility that we could work with the Yakima Humane Society to offer like a neutering event in our community so that we can kind of control the animal population? Is that something that the city could provide, Lance? Well, not for free, but just an event to bring that up to the community and offer it.
Is that for?
Yeah, I don't mean to butt in, but I believe they offered a chip service at one time at the depot, but due to COVID, they weren't doing that this year. But we can check into that.
Thank you.
And our current animal control contract is at WCIA for review right now. And so this is our opportunity to make sure that we have, I guess, different hours of animal control, and we can ask for some other items to be included in that program. So we'll bring that spay and neuter opportunity up also.
Maybe that contract could be looked over by the safety committee also and get some input and recommendations moving forward.
Okay.
Good idea.
Any other questions for me?
So are we doing a little something extra to try to continue to have good morale or a good working relationship with our police officers and dispatch people? I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm a teacher. I give stickers and candy. I don't know, but I don't know what police officers get. But I'm just wondering what are we trying to do to show appreciation?
Well, I think that, you know, I always go back to a good working environment.
Okay.
Being enjoyable to be at work, and that, you know, you can have good pay, you can have great days off, but very often it comes down to how do you feel when you're at work? And so I would like that to be a priority within our police department to have a work environment that is comfortable for people and not autocratic and just to be pleasant.
Well, I want to thank you also for the fact that you let us know that we're kind of behind on some training that should be happening a little bit more regularly with our police department. So I'm glad that, you know, you're picking up on those things. We wouldn't know. So thank you for a job well done. I mean, you can tell that when you came in running, you know your stuff, you know what the requirements are. And I really appreciate you, you know, being there for our people at this time.
Well, thank you.
And I think he did one of the best monthly reports I've ever seen come out from the PD since I've been on council. It was very detailed and it was really a lot of information. Really good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chief.
We'll move on to item 6B. AB 20-049, Resolution 2020-49, approve amendment to agreement with the Yakima County Development Association to distribute additional coronavirus relief funds for local government CARES Act fund for small businesses. City Manager Hoyt.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you is Resolution 2020-49, and also an amendment to which is a resolution approving the amendment to the agreements between the City of Toppenish and the Yakima County Development Association for the pass-through funds for the Washington State Coronavirus Relief Funds for Small Businesses. So for an update on where we're at, we know that we received money in June. We received $273,150 then, and so council in September decided that we would keep $83,150 for city use. That we were affected by COVID issues, PPE, Zoom, all those types of things that we had to do. And we'd use $190,000 for small business support. Yakima County, Yakima City were about 2 months ahead of us. They enlisted and had an agreement with YCDA to do that process of creating an application, putting the application out for small businesses to fill out. They then evaluated and ranked evaluations, and then they distributed the funds given to them by the City of Yakima and Yakima County, and then they'll be responsible for keeping all the records for the next 7 years, and also to make sure that the funds are used according to Department of Commerce COVID care money rules. So to get back to Toppenish, we received that $273,000, and then in September we received another $136,575. CARES Act 2 is what we labeled it. So we're going to keep 56,000 ish money out of that amount for city use for COVID related items, and council decided to add another $80,000 with the 190 and go forward with the small business grant relief for affected by COVID. So in your packet you have a list of applications. We did our 2-week evaluation application period back in September, the last 2 weeks of September, and they were evaluated. We had 192 total applications that were submitted. 89 were eligible. Of that, those were ranked for a maximum of 30 points, and then given to us just recently in a chronological order of how they scored on the application. Remember that our small grant is $10,000 maximum and total funds. So if they got other Corona or COVID money, had to be reduced from the total amount of 10,000. So if you look on your list, there's 20 on the first list. That's CARES Act 1 money, and then there's 10 more applications or successful applicants on the second one, which is COVID number 2 money. So I guess what I'm asking council tonight, if I can find my paper here, motion to approve Resolution 2020-19 authorizing the city manager to sign the amendment agreement with YCDA for small business grant program, and approve the qualified list of applications to expend the CARES Act money 1 and 2 in a qualified program to help small businesses affected by COVID in Toppenish. And we have a check for $190,000 that was approved in tonight's consent agenda. That's ready to be forwarded to YCDA. And once we approve that process and the list, we'll forward that check to YCDA. They will contact the those 30 businesses and start the dispersal of that COVID money. And at that same time tomorrow, we will then turn the applicants. We'll submit that amount of money to Department of Commerce to get reimbursed for that amount. And so hopefully by the time that money goes out and ours comes back in the next 10 days, we'll be back. Our coffers will be filled back up with that money. So I know that's a lot of information. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Yeah, I have a question. You gave a different number than I gave.
Uh-oh, which number?
I did a 2020-49 to approve this amendment, and I believe you said 2020-19.
Oh, I'm okay. Mine says resolution 2020-49.
Okay.
Stand corrected. Thank you for that.
Wasn't clear.
Lance, so these are all the businesses that have been cleared for the funding already, or are they still in the process?
Those are the ones that were the successful ones, and I believe they're all cleared. I think there was 5 businesses that needed to a week and a half ago that needed to get City of Toppenish business licenses, and they were afforded the opportunity to get that done. And I believe they did it. So okay. That's the official list right now.
Okay. And do we know how much each business was allotted, or were all of them allotted the 10,000, or?
No, they were the first group. I think the first 18 or 17 were allotted 10,000. The next 2 asked for 7,000, and then the next one, another one asked for like 4,000, and that's why that number came up to $89,500. So then that 189,500, and then that 500 was dropped down into the second round, and that's why that's 80,500. And so that's where that went down to.
Okay.
So most of the people that asked for the full 10, that if they didn't have any other COVID money, they got the full 10, and I think that's about 95% of them.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I think those figures were in our last agenda information.
So I guess what I need is a motion to approve resolution 2020-49 and also to amend the agreement for the pass-through money for the second round of COVID money, the 136.
Entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution 2020-49.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Belton and seconded by Councilwoman Jimenez to approve resolution 2020-49, approve amendment to agreement with Yakima County Development Association, Distribute Association, Coronavirus Relief Fund for local governments, the CARES Act funds for small businesses. And I believe there was something else
and the amendment to the agreement for the pass-through money for with YCDA.
Okay.
So they can actually pass the money on.
Very good. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
2020-50. Aye.
What did you say, Lauren?
What was that?
I thought there was an amendment for the other was 2020-50, but maybe I was wrong. I'd have to go back and look back at it.
That's
the architecture. Sorry, never mind.
That's good. All in favor signify by aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't see if Councilwoman Duvall.
Yes, I said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. Any opposed? Hearing none. We'll move on to item 6.
Thank you.
Which is AB 20-050, Resolution 2020-50, approve Board Architect Amendment for revised site design for the new Public Works building. City Manager Hoyt.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you are actually three resolutions, speaking to the Public Works revisited site design. And I believe Public Works Superintendent Wallace is present to talk about those.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm going to discuss Resolution 2020-50. It's for an amendment for architectural services related to the revised site design for the Public Works buildings. If Council will remember, BNSF denied the city's request for an additional water line easement on BNSF property. This forced the city to have to revise the site design for the new Public Works building, utilities, and paving. With the required site plan revisions, Bora Architecture is requesting an additional $13,000 for architectural and engineering services to modify the site plan and to relocate the buildings. This includes the additional services for the structural, mechanical, and electrical engineers. Staff's recommendation for a motion to approve Resolution 2020-50, authorizing the city manager to sign the amendment for additional architectural services related to the revised site design for the Public Works buildings. Are there any questions?
Are there going to be more amendments to this architectural design?
At this time, I do not know that. I think we have a great design. We don't see any potential issues at this point. Since everything will be included on the city's property, we shouldn't have any issues.
So we have enough money for this?
Yes, the money is in the 006 Public Works Building Fund, and specifically out of the capital expenditures professional services.
So on this project, are we going to stay under budget with all of the different amendments and everything that's going on?
Yes. And if council will remember, we should over time see a savings because we will not be paying for an annual easement lease to BNSF like we do on other properties. So over time, we won't really see this additional $13,000 as an issue.
And your move to the Parks and Rec building, the rental savings.
Yes, Public Works is getting the job shack removed November 3rd from Public Works property. So we won't be paying the lease monthly on that job shack anymore. And since the Rec and Aquatics building was empty, Public Works is utilizing that as our morning gatherings, also for our lunchroom.
Well, I think the biggest issue too is that we are now, the whole complex is on our own property. We're not having to deal with anybody else moving forward. So any decisions or cost should be ours only.
Yes.
Excellent idea.
So then in the future, will they be having a lunchroom there at Public Works so they don't have to be driving over to the rec area?
Yes, once the new Public Works building is complete, or office building is complete, there is a lunchroom. It's a combination room. It will have the availability of training up to 50 people. So we can hopefully entice AWWA or other groups to come to the city of Toppenish. We're centrally located in the valley. So that means we can get people from Sela all the way down to Prosser to come to us. And usually when that happens, the hosting city does not have to pay for the trainings and all the other jurisdictions do.
Oh, good.
And in the meantime, you can tell them they can't drive over there. They have to walk. That's part of our wellness program.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, since all of this sounds so great, I'll go ahead and make a motion to go ahead and approve. And I forgot what all we were saying because I lost track, but I like approve that. Yes.
I'll second your motion to approve resolution 2020-50, authorizing the city manager to sign the amendment for additional architectural services related to the revised site design for the Public Works building.
Good job. You did awesome.
All right, I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Jimenez, seconded by Councilwoman Duvall, to approve resolution 2020-50, approve Bora Bora. Sorry. It's a long night.
Okay.
Architect amendment to the site design for the new Public Works building. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye. Mark, you turned red.
Well, hot in here. Any opposed? Hearing none. Moving on to item 6D, which is AB 20-051, HLA Engineering and Land Surveying, Inc. services for revised site design for the new Public Works building, utilities, paving. And then there's resolution 2020-51 approving amendment number 1 for task order 2020-01 and resolution 2020-52 approve amend number 1 for task order 2020-02. And those would all be done separately, I'm sure. Moving on to City Manager Hoyt.
Thank you, Mayor. As with any new site design, not only do we have to do amendment to the building design, we also have to do a building an amendment to the water line paving and entrance design, since we lost one that we were going to use with BNSF. Once again, Public Works Superintendent Wallace is here to explain that.
Okay, as we just previously discussed, because of BNSF denying the city's request for a water line easement on BNSF property, the revised site plan allows the water line to be installed on city-owned property only. The revised site plan moves the ingress-egress for the Public Works office to Washington Avenue and an optional right-in, right-out only access on Buena Way. With the revised site plan, HLA is requesting an additional $12,500 for site and utility improvements for the project. Are there any questions?
No questions, eh? No. There's no questions. I'd entertain a motion.
So I move to approve resolution 2020-51.
I'll second that.
Motion on the floor from Mayor Pro Tem Saavedra, seconded by Councilman Garcia, to approve AB 20-051, the HLA Engineering and Land Surveying, Inc. and services for the revised site design for the new Public Works building, utilities, and paving. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. We'll move on to 2020-50.
Mayor, can I just make one more comment? We also need a motion to approve resolution 2020-52.
Yeah.
Next.
What I was moving on to.
I'm sorry.
So I move to approve resolution 2020-52.
I'll second that again.
All right. Motion on the floor from Mayor Pro Tem Saavedra, seconded by Councilman Garcia to approve the resolution 2020-52, approving amendment number 1 for task order 2020-02. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we will move on to item 7, council meeting reports and community announcements.
Rocky.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rock. We'll start with Council Member Garcia.
Nothing to report.
Councilwoman Duvall.
George, we could report on the fact that we were helping out getting people to vote, right?
Right. We manned the station.
Yeah, we manned a station at City Hall on Saturday morning. It was very cold, but we were just encouraging people to register to vote and reminding them that the last day to register online is today. So if you haven't done so, make sure you do that. Also, make sure you vote by November 3rd. You can turn in your ballots there at City Hall. It will be open to the public on November 3rd. And if you want to just drop it by, you can drop it off at the return ballot box in front of the casino. That's all I have tonight.
City Hall's doors will be open until 8 o'clock on November 3rd.
Yes, I saw that on the door.
Yep.
Yep.
Thanks.
Councilman Belton.
I have nothing.
Councilwoman Jimenez.
I do have a couple of things. I did attend the Zoom meeting, which was for the COG, along with Lance and Heidi. The main topic of discussion was homelessness, and we did have the regular people come and talk. It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, there's really not anywhere you can put them. We had, I think, Union Gospel Mission that were talking about what they've got going on. Rod's House was talking about how they've opened up another homeless shelter. It's for teenagers, and this one is in Sunnyside. So they have one in Yakima, which is the original one, and now they've opened up another one in Sunnyside. So maybe the next one will be in the middle. It could be Toppenish. I'll have to talk to Rod next time I see him. So they did talk about what they're doing. We had an individual also talk about how more of the rental homes are going off the market because people are deciding to just sell them off. Because, you know, we have that one moratorium where they don't have to pay their rent for a while. But then the poor homeowners, they still have to make the mortgage payment on these rentals that they have. So some people are just getting out of the business and just selling it because it's sort of like a buyer's market right now. So that's a problem that they're starting to see. There's less rentals because people don't want to put up with this thing because they can't get their money and you can't blame them. So we talked to, that was pretty much a whole agenda was that. They did go over about their budget. They approved the budget. Our rates will stay the same. They're flatten out. They're not going to increase our rates, which was great to hear, but they understand that we don't have the money coming in either. So that was what we discussed at the COG meeting that we had the other night. I know at the last meeting that we had, City Manager Hoyt asked me if the school district was planning on doing anything for trick or treat this year. And I just want to inform the viewing public that yes, the school district will be having their trick or treat drive-through. It will be held at 3 different locations. One will be at Kirkwood. So if you are a resident or if you go to the schools, Garfield, the high school, or Kirkwood, you can go to the trick-or-treat drive-through at Kirkwood. If you attend Lincoln Elementary, Katz Academy, or Valley View Elementary, then you and your family may participate in the drive-through that's going to be held at Valley View. So pretty much, and then they have the middle school one, of course. So that's where they'll be. They'll be at the middle school, Valley View, and Kirkwood. Please only go to one because they'll run out of goodies. This will be held on Friday, the 30th of October, not on Saturday, the 31st, which is Halloween. It'll be Friday. It will be from 4 to 6 at those locations. 4 to 6 on Friday. Again, the locations were going to be Kirkwood, Valley View, and the middle school. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is that only for school age children that are registered in the schools? Or like I have littles that are 3, they're not registered in school.
It's not, personally, no one's going to get out of their cars. It's just a drive-through. Mm-hmm. And as you're going through, the teachers will be the one just handing you the bag and you keep going. So it's not like you're going to be able to go out and parade them around like that's what I would want to do, get my little guys out there. So it's not like that. It's just, you're just driving through, they give you a bag of candy and that's it. So you can participate if you want, but go to the one where it's closest to your home.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you've seen Heidi's email encouraging us to register for the AWC Washington on Tap. There's a couple more dates if you'd like to be able to do that Zoom meeting. I know I myself have registered for Thursday, and that one I think is like from 6 to 7 or something. So if you want to get to know more of what AWC has to offer and what other communities around the state are doing during this pandemic, you might want to go ahead and register and log in. That's all I have to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Saavedra.
I have nothing to report.
And currently I have nothing to report. We'll move on to item 8, City Manager's Report.
Yeah, sounds like council was at all the things that need to be reported. Study session on the 2nd will be budget as predicted. And once again, the City Hall's doors will be open on November 3rd till 8 o'clock so people can use our ballot box if they need to get in there. And then they'll be closed promptly at 8. And I'll be in a meeting Wednesday to talk about the homeless and the extreme weather shelter with, there's a meeting scheduled with Esther Magnanus. She's the Yakima County Homeless Coordinator. And also we'll be visiting with Arlen Washings and Janice Howe from Yakima Nation and Mike Kay from Camp Hope. And so the basic thoughts that we're going to be kicking around and trying to solve will be potential locations for an extreme weather shelter. Staffing, sounds like Yakima Nation would like to have the Terrell program staff the program and define a start and end date. I know extreme weather shelters are supposed to go from November 1st to end of February, but it might be amended depending when it gets started. And if anyone has any thoughts or would like to share anything in regards to the homelessness, please give me a call. I appreciate it. That's all I have tonight. So.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 9, which is adjournment. Thank you everyone for attending both meetings and enjoy your evening.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Stay masked up and stay warm.